In this video, I'm going to be creating a Microsoft Sway. Now, I've got a more general guide back in another video, and I've also given some preview about what Sway is capable of, but I thought you might be interested in seeing me actually create one for myself. So, as I've mentioned, all of my Sways generally correspond with different units in different classes. So I'm just about to start a brand new unit with my Year 9 English class on comparison. So I'm going to be creating that specific Sway today, and you'll just be able to see some of the things that I do. I have pre-set up a few bits and pieces just to make this a little bit more painless. So you'll notice me jumping to a couple of other programs, but that's just going to help you to really understand how I bring things together, and that's what this is really all about. So first thing I'm going to do is create a new Sway. All right, and as you can see, it's been set up and there's nothing here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to title it comparison, and as you can see, it's already created the theme for me, or the basic theme. And the first thing I'm going to check, I usually like to start with just to make sure it's going down. At the moment, it's currently going sideways, so I'm just going to change the layout so it goes down. I always just think that's a good place to begin. Now, I might not stay with this theme, but I'll sort that out once I've got some on there. All right, so there's my title of comparison. And the first thing I'm going to do is just put in a brief definition. So, if I was starting my class, what would I really want them to know? So this is just a Word document where I've pre-written a couple of things that I want in there. So I'm just going to copy this straight across. Okay, so what I've copied is to compare something is to take into account its similarities and differences in a critical and analytical fashion. Okay, so if I look at that now, the kind of text is kind of there, which is well and good, but I might actually emphasize it by making it a little bit bigger, just so that it comes out a bit more clearly. The next thing I'm going to do, so one of the first things I want them to see is a video that I've created which shows them what comparison actually is. So I'm going to go up to a YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel, and this is the video that I've created here, and I want to embed this. I'm not just going to put the link on there so it takes them to YouTube. I want to embed it so they can watch it in this way. So I'm going to go down to the share button. You can do this on any YouTube video, and I'm going to click embed, and it just gives me this long complicated piece of code. So I'm just going to control copy that, and now I'm going back to the Sway. Oh, there we are. And notice I don't want any of these options at the moment. I don't want a heading or anything like that. I'm actually going to come over to the side menu and I want to embed something. So I do that, and it comes up with this section. It says tap here to paste your embed code, control paste. There it is. Okay, so it's put my video up on the screen. Now, I actually want it to be a bit bigger than that. I want it to be a bit more prominent. So I'm just going to move it. I usually like the medium size, which, as you can see, fills up the screen quite nicely and just makes life a little bit easier. So there's my first video. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want my students to actually do a task where they compare something. So the video tells them a little bit about what comparison is, and the next thing I want to do is get them to actually weigh up or do a small comparison task where they compare an apple and an orange, so I can have a good look at their language. So I'm going to do a couple of things for this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an image, and as you can see, as soon as I click image, all of this stuff comes up. Now I can actually just upload it straight from my device or go straight to my OneDrive. Okay, so in this case I'm going to my OneDrive file, and I could have selected that up the top here, but I'm going to go into my images folder where I've got a whole bunch of different images, things that I've used in the past, and I'm going to grab my apple and my orange image, and I'm just going to drag that onto here. Okay, so you notice that's just loading in. Come back here, just let it, you can see it's just sorting itself out, and here we go, there's my image. Now once again, I'd like the image to be bigger. Okay, I want it to be more of a focal point. So I'm going to come in here and just make that a medium size. There we go. So now everything's lined up quite nicely. I like that. And I might also, something I didn't do before, but I might click in here and actually put a little heading in here and say, student activity. I want them to know that this is something that they're going to do. Okay, so as you come down, it says student activity, and here's my picture. So now I'm going to give them the directions that I actually want them to do. So I'm going to need to add some more text. So I'm going to add under here some text. I'm going to go back to my Word document. I'm just selecting the text that I want, and now I'm going back to the Sway, and I'm just going to paste that in. And once again, you can see I've got it set to the moderate setting instead of the small, because I want it to be that little bit bigger. Now, it's about this point, once I get a couple of bits and pieces in, I start to have a look at it and I think, oh yeah, okay, this is currently what it looks like. But I don't know if I quite like the font, and I don't know if I like the heading, so I'm just going to mix it up now. I'm going to press remix and just see what I get. Okay, oh, look at that. Okay, so in this case, by pressing that, what's happened is it's now put it into a slide format, so very bright purple, and I can now click through it. Now, maybe I like the color, but I don't like the format, so I can click on layout and go and say that I want it to be a scroll instead. Okay, well, that certainly made it look a little bit more zany, but if I just press remix again, I wonder what's going to happen. Let's have a look here. Okay, so again, it's put it in maybe a simpler kind of setting, but you can see that I'm having to use the arrows again, so I'm going to go back to layout and just change it again to this one, and I could have just pressed remix again as well. Okay, interesting. All right, so it's giving me a completely different layout. I'm going to press remix again. Who knows? Shuffle the deck, see what you get. Okay, it's done the same thing. Oh, but this time it's actually put a background on there and it's changed the color scheme a bit. Okay, so that's interesting. Why not just one more time just to see what we get? Okay. All right, and this time it's put it on a sideways orientation. I usually don't really like the sideways, so I'm going to go back and change it to a scroll down and just have a bit of a look at this. I don't mind the font of this one. Okay. Yeah, so maybe that's a little bit clearer. You know what, I'm going to stick with that. I could have really easily gone back to previous actions, but on the spur of the moment, I'm just going to pick this one. And something I forgot to do originally, you notice I come back here and I'm in my section for images, but I'm also going to just grab an image and just drag that at the top as well, just to add a bit more interest. It seemed a bit boring at the top. Okay, so it's going to render that for me, and here we go. Okay. Oh, any second now, that should show up. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. All right. And again, it had a little joke at the top, so I'm going to click on this and click on focus points. What it often does in Sway is it only shows part of your image. So I'm just going to click on this to say actually the whole image is important for me. Okay, so I don't want you to cut anything off. I want you to have the joke up there. So well, we're both through. There's the comparison. And now I can scroll down. There's my definition. Here's my first video. Here's the image that I put in there that says student activity. Write a 6-sentence comparison between an apple and an orange. Now the next feature that I've created, I'm going to put on here, rather than getting them to do this in their books or do it on their computer and email it to me, that could be a bit of a nightmare. I've created a Microsoft form. So I'm just going across to my tab here. Really simple Microsoft form. Comparison attempt 1. Write a 6-sentence comparison between an apple and an orange. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this, and I've set it so that anyone with a link can respond. They don't need to log in. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on the embed button, and that's going to give me a code. So I'm going to press copy. So that's now copied, ready for me to paste. And underneath here, so I go back to my, I think I can get rid of the pictures now. I go back down here and I click add. And in this case, I don't want to add a heading or a text or a link. I'm going to click on the 3 dots, and it gives me this option of inserts. I'm going to say I want to embed, and I'm going to paste my code there. And like magic, there it is. So there's my thing. So students can actually access this and they can put their answer in there and submit it to me, and then I can look at the answers through Microsoft Forms. Similar to what I've been doing consistently though, is I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, great. All right, so far it's looking pretty nice and clean. This is the first thing they see, and they could see it on their phone or tablet. My definition, my video, the activity I get them to do, the place where they're actually going to write it. What I'm going to put on next is, after doing this activity, then I start talking to them about comparative language. So I'm going to add some more text, and I'm going to I'm going to take that back or trash that. I'm going to add a heading first. So I'm going to add a new heading here. I'm going to call it comparative language. There we go. And now I'm going to add some text underneath that. So now I'm going to go back to my Word document, and I'm going to grab all of these examples of comparative language and throw them down there. Okay, so you can see that this presentation is really coming together. So far I've got a lot of different elements. I've got videos, I've got text, I've got notes, and my lesson's slowly coming together. I'm going to add another couple of features in here just to show you how easy it is. I've actually got another video. So once they know what comparative language is, then I've got a more advanced video. So if I go back to my YouTube account, this was the video. I don't want it to play. But again, I'm just going to do what I did before. I'm going to share it. I want to embed it just like I did in the last one. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my Sway. And again, I'm just going to add and click embed. And I'm going to paste that code. And I'm going to click, I want it moderately sized. Hopefully that remembered to do it. Okay, and that's going to expand for me in just a second. There we go. So that's my next video. The next thing I'm going to do is there's actually an assignment. So once this is kind of all the content I'm going to teach them in that first lesson, but let's say in the second lesson I'm going to get them to do an actual assignment or an actual something like a piece of learning or something I'm going to assess. So I've got a couple of other bits and pieces I'm going to use now. I've got some videos I want to show, but the videos aren't on YouTube. So I've actually got them here in my folder. So what I'm going to do is I get them to watch these couple of little videos about Shrek and Toy Story and compare them. So in this case, rather than going through this the way I put the picture in before, just to show you how easy this is to use, I'm actually just going to grab that Shrek video and I'm going to drag it and I'm just going to let it go. Okay, and what it says now is your file is being uploaded for processing. Please keep your Sway open to allow the upload to finish. So in this case, I'm just putting in a video. It's not on YouTube, and I don't want to put it on YouTube because it's an extract from a film. It's only 30 seconds, but just for copyright reasons. But what it's doing now is it's uploading that video from my folder straight onto the document. So students on my Sway will be able to see it, but it's not available to the whole community. All right. Another thing, now I'll put my other video on there as well. So I guess the other way I could have done it is I could have come over here and said I want to put on the video, and it could have done a whole search. Whoops, sorry. When I did that, it just created a caption for me to add a video. And now if I get the Toy Story one and drag it over, now it'll take a couple of minutes for those to sort themselves out. But essentially that's how easy it is, okay, and they'll be ready to play within a couple of minutes. The next thing I want to do is there's actually a task that they need. So I'm going to go into text and I'm going to give them some basic instructions. I'm going to say, once you have watched both videos, complete the task at this link. So now I'm going to give them a Word document. Okay, and the Word document has got the task that I want. Okay, so I'm not going to put the whole task on here for them, but I'm going to create a link. So I'm not creating a link to a website, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my class SharePoint, okay, which is here. This is my my class SharePoint with digital files. I'm going to click on, this is the task, the text comparison task, and it's going to give it to me in a Word document from Word Online. Okay, so I want them to be able to see this. I want them to be able to download it. So I'm just going to click on share and I'm going to get a link for it. So this is going to give me an instant link. It's an edit link, which means that they can, well, I might actually just make it a view link. And what that means is that they can't actually edit it. They have to download it and save it as their own file. So now I'm going to copy that link and I'm going to go back to the Sway. And rather than posting in the link that might look a bit ugly, I'm actually just going to click on this and click link, and this is the web link, and the Word link in this case is going to go that. So notice how it's now made that a hyperlink, and if I go down, so the videos are still processing, so we won't necessarily wait for them to finish up. They might show up in a second, but once you have watched both videos, I made a mistake there, complete the task at this link. Okay, so this is the link, and they can click it, and it will take them straight to that Word document. And once they're at the Word document, then they can edit the document by downloading it in Microsoft Word, and then they can submit it back to me. Look, there's a whole bunch of features that I've shown you in this video, and it might be you need to go back and look at them a couple of times, but hopefully it just shows you how easy it is. Like in a fairly small amount of time, if I press play, I've created this resource for my students where it's visual, there's a lot of information on it, there's videos, there's forms for them to fill out and submit, there's notes on there for them to look through, there's more videos, and then there's also a link to a task.